you. Good evening.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good evening for the early birds, for those that have joined the meeting quite early enough. We want to welcome you to the December edition of this VAT, monthly VAT, and it happens to be the last for the year, holding on the first day of the last month of the year. And it promises to be quite an interesting one. We'll be starting the meeting very soon. And my job here is very simple. It's just to introduce to us the session chair for this evening. And so I'll be sharing my screen now to introduce her to us. Okay, so the session chair for this evening is going to be Dr. Salma Otolugosi. She is the MD CEO of BBIT Veterinary Consult, Lagos, Nigeria. She is the founder and CEO of BBIT Veterinary Consult, a small animal practice that is based in Lagos, Nigeria, but provide veterinary services to the whole country. She also runs Go Babies, an e-commerce company, basically for pets and pet needs. She's a graduate of veterinary medicine for the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and she has more than a decade of practice experience. As a scholar also, she has received training on introduction to epidemiology at the University of Washington. And in addition to this, she has a certificate in fundamentals of digital marketing. She is an active member of the Lagos MVMA, and she has held various capacities, including member of the Law Review Committee. And in this capacity, she successfully helped in the enactment of the Lagos State Pet Law on animal welfare and responsible pet ownership. She is passionate in mentoring young veterinarians, as well as contributing towards an ever-evolving science of the veterinary profession. Presently, she has developed a special interest in the field of veterinary surgery. And outside her work schedules, she spends time with her husband and kids. And so, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to moderate the session for this evening, Dr. Salma Otolugosi. Dr. Salma, you have the floor, please. Kindly unmute yourself, Dr. Salma. Dr. Salma?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening to everyone, my fellow colleagues, my ogas. It's a pleasure to be here. I welcome everyone to today's program, which promises to be very interesting because of our guest lecturer. Before we go on, let's start with the opening prayer, which is the second stanza of the national anthems. Can someone please help us with that?
Okay, I guess we can just all take it together.
Okay.
O God of creation, direct our
noble cause,
guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, great lofty heights achieve, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen.
Amen. So we shall start with the opening remarks by Dr. Olakoton. Dr. Olakoton, please.
Good evening, everyone. I say once again, good evening from these parts of the globe. I want to quickly, on behalf of
Dr. Olakoton. Dr. Lakoton.
Of the president.
Hello,
of the
Dr. Lakoton, are you still with us? Okay.
Please, can everyone hear me, please?
Okay,
Yes,
I think we can hear you now.
Okay. So I said these are actually the words of Dr. Toba Adeyeye, the pioneer president of Colvet Funab Alumni Association. It's been an impactful progression in value addition and in upgrading ourselves as veterinary professionals from Colvet Funab since we started the VAT about 4 years ago. A couple of months ago, we started the series 2 of this program, and we decided to invite other professional colleagues, that is alumni from other veterinary faculties and colleges in the country. I therefore want to give a very special welcome to all our friends and colleagues who fall into this category, especially those who are joining us in the VAT session for the first time today. I equally want to welcome our own members, both home and abroad, to the December 2022 VAT session. I cannot but especially welcome our very revered guest speaker for this month, Dr. Gani Enauro, who has always been very supportive and encouraging to the vision and cause of the Colvet Funab Alumni Association. I am sure he's got not only the experience, but also the expertise and relational connection to be able to do effective justice to the subject of discourse today. It is for this reason, therefore, that I would like to encourage everyone to pay rapt attention, learn and assimilate all that will be used of them. Lastly, I'd like to appreciate our very senior colleagues who have consistently, many of whom have consistently graced the VAT sessions with their presence. Members of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria, eminent national and state leaders of the NVMA, and several other elders of the profession and of the veterinary community in Nigeria. We are very encouraged by your moral support. It is on this note that I would like, on behalf of the president, to hand over to the capable hands of the session chair for today, Dr. Salma Tolugosi, who will be chairing and moderating today's session. I trust that you all will have value for your time. It's been the words of Dr. Toba Adeyeye, pioneer president, Colvet Funab Alumni Association. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Salma.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yes, thank you, Dr. Lakoton. First, I would like to apologize. I think I'm having challenges with my video here. So you please excuse me with regards to that. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I'm trying to, I hope I can resolve it very soon. And so after the introduction, after the opening remarks by Dr. Lakoton, I would like to introduce our resource person in person of Dr. Gani Enauro. You are highly welcome, sir. It's a pleasure. We are so delighted to have you here. Dr. Gani Enauro is the managing director of Ganro Vet Animal Hospital, Warri, Nigeria. He obtained the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree from the University of Ibadan in 1985. He had his master's in clinical pathology from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where he's presently on his PhD course in the same discipline. He further obtained the master's in business administration in 1993 from the University of Ilorin and a professional certificate in enterprise from Harvard Business School. He is a fellow of the Postgraduate College of the Veterinary Surgeons, Nigeria. He is presently an elected member of the governing board of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria and the chairman of his Continuing Education Committee. He has passionately been training and mentoring so many budding and young veterinarians. A senior advisor for VPP project at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Dr. Gani Enahoru holds several awards of excellence in model of the veterinary profession in Nigeria, UNN 2011. Distinguished Veterinary Entrepreneur Award, FUNAB 2016. Distinguished Faculty Alumnus Award, Professional Association of Professional Bodies in Nigeria. Dr. Enaoro, as a veterinary technocrat, was the pioneer veterinary consultant on the use of dogs in security to international oil companies operating in Nigeria, and has international accreditation as a resource person on animal welfare and livestock development matters in Africa. He was a panelist in the 2018 at the 5th Global One Health Summit in Barcelona, Spain. Dr. Gani Enahoro served the veterinary community as an advocate through various positions as national chairman, Association of Private Veterinarians in Nigeria. Between 2019 and 2011, national president, Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association, NVMA. Between 2011 to 2013, is the vice president, African Veterinary Association since 2014. He was elected as Chancellor for Africa at the World Veterinary Association Executive 2017 to 2020, where he further served as chairman of the prestigious WVA Policy Committee. It is a pleasure to welcome you here, sir. As you take us through the topic of the veterinarian in an ailing economy, how to cope and thrive. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, the chairperson, Dr. Salmont. I have to appreciate the Alumni Association of the College of Vets, FUNAB. You guys are doing a lot that I think other faculties will need to take a cue from you in replicating what is good, because I remember when I was contesting for the position for membership of the Veterinary Council, this same association also had a forum that I had to address you people. And if every alumni association is doing that, then of course people would be ahead more responsible to their assignments or what they promised to do for the profession. So I really have to congratulate you for doing what is right. Will you permit me to share my slide from my own end so that could look clearer?
Yes, sir, you can.
Let me share from my own end so you can close this. Okay, let me share from here. Let's see. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's good. So the topic you have given to me is the veterinarian in an ailing economy, how to cope and thrive. This is a subject, or let me say, a topic of interest to me and to all of us, really. And I really wish I don't know why you use the word ailing, because if I have a choice, I would just split this and remove the N and convert it to F and put it here, and to be the veterinarian in a failing economy. Very sad to say so, but that looks like, don't worry about that. What is shown on the screen, I will remove it now. The country is going through what is more or less a failing economy, really. We have long gone beyond ailing. It's unfortunate, and that is traceable to the kind of leadership that we have in this country, because it is not unknown to us that there is a global picture of economic depression. Yes, but the leadership in various countries have tried to fight harder to save their countries and their economies. But we have quite a lot of challenge that is traceable to our leadership politically. But I'm not here to discuss politics today. So the topic is okay in the veterinarian in an ailing economy. I would thank you for also giving me this opportunity to reflect on how it was during our days when the challenges we had as veterinarians 35 years ago, 36 years ago, is not exactly like what you have today or what we have today. Talking about the younger veterinarians now. Because in my first 10 years, from 1985 to 1995, I enjoyed large animal practice. Having to go into the interiors where the herders who are our customers had huge stock of cattle. I'm talking of thousands, you know, and without any fear of anybody kidnapping or attacking me or attacking us. In those days, I had 2 days of the week dedicated to large animal practice with the Fulani cattle owners coming in. I had a warehouse that I had beds for them. They would come in on Monday night, and I would follow them on Tuesday to go and treat their animals. And I had 2 interpreters, one who could speak Fufude, that's Fulani language, and another one who spoke Hausa language. I mean, it was a beautiful practice. And these people had money, even though we used to look down on them, but they had more money than even those our customers and clients in the cities who are politically exposed, who are businessmen, who used to owe us a lot. But these Fulanis, right on their bodies, had millions of naira to pay for services. And they will not go and waylay us on the road on our return to take those money back from us. It was a free country, very nice country. But today, I'm not sure any veterinarian, young or old, would be confident to want to go and try such a thing, no matter how much you want to offer to pay us. So that's a different challenge, really, that we face today, which is not what any of you had the opportunity of, except the old veterinarians who also did like me. So I'm going to stretch out the topic into an outline to discuss the challenges of veterinarians, how diversified we are, and also to prick our consciences whether this diversity is actually of benefit to us or redirect challenges. And I'm going to look around what the public sector offers as alongside the private sector. And then, of course, the new syndrome of Jackpot syndrome of our people who are running abroad today. That's the challenge. And then I'll look at the alien economy. I'm not going to talk too much on the alien economy. I just have a single slide out of 15 to discuss the alien economy of Nigeria, because we all live here. And we all know how precarious the Nigerian economic situation is today. So I'm not going to dwell too much on that. But I'm going to dwell a lot on coping strategies. Those are the things I will share with you as my practical experiences of how I have navigated and how I'm still navigating. And I tell you the truth, I practice what I preach. Everything I will say here are things I do today and have done in the past. Of course, they are not a master stroke. It only means you have to tweak around them and then modify them to suit your circumstances. But I'll share them all as best as I can, because the bottom line is for us to enjoy our profession and be wealthy and prosper and flourish in this profession. So that's the outline. Now, the peculiar challenge of veterinarians in our diversity. Once we graduate and get into various fields, our circumstances will just change instantly. And we are no longer singing the same tune. You have veterinarians in public health who might never have to do with syringes and needles in all of their practice life again. And you know that I don't want to look narrow here. You know, the small animal practice is like the flagship for the veterinary profession, because that is the practice that have a very regular and consistent interface with the public. And that is where the barometer to gauge what the veterinary profession looks like is situated. So, but a lot of veterinarians are in different fields, public sector, the private sector, quite a number of them. I'm going to spread them out. That makes our unity not looking like a blessing for us in diversity. So to put them together, to pull all of us together to be able to see things the same way and fight for our common issues become very different, because we just see ourselves as no longer having the same problems that require common front. We have the public sector veterinarian. I mean, these are the very foundation. Almost all the veterinarians that graduated in the 1950s, 1960s, and the early, up to the late 70s, were into this sector of civil service, public service, and that was expectedly so, because we needed to have these policymakers who are going to decide what the veterinary profession and veterinary practice should look like. So they were the original first sector. Then later on, when the universities came, we have very many of our colleagues going into universities, research institutes. And then the multi-sectorial institutions like the NCDC, Center for Disease Control, now have a lot of One Health principles, bringing together veterinarians to work alongside other professionals and continue to spread the public health component of the veterinary profession. And then very recently, we have the security forces, the police, the armed forces, and paramilitary, all belonging to the public sector veterinarians. And quite a number of others, but these are like the large groups that host the public sector veterinarians. And then in the private sector, we have the veterinary medicinal products marketing. These are actually new languages. The VMP is drugs marketing. And then the manufacturing and repackaging of drugs, veterinary medical products, medicinal products, or pet products. And then we have quite a number of veterinarians in non-veterinary career paths today. We have vets in journalism, vets in banking, insurance, and aviation. You won't believe it. We have vets in all of these areas. And quite a number of places you'll be surprised that vets are doing well there. They all belong to the private sector. And we have the private veterinary practice, which mops up almost everyone else that is not categorized into those definitions above, either as ambulatory veterinarians, clinic owners, hospital owners, or employees in these establishments. And we have some veterinarians also into farming, the poultry, the piggery, and the ranching. And then the third sector, which is the newest of them all, is the Japa sector veterinarian. I don't know whether I should tell you the story of Japa. Actually, many people we have all keyed into referring to them as Japa, you know. Nobody has cared to find out how this slang came about. But for all I know, I'm from Edo State. I know that is a corruption of a Benin language. You know, my people in Benin, Edo State, like traveling a lot, traveling abroad. So that originated from there when they used to say, Jackpa, that is, let's go, you know. So we have a lot of veterinarians, we need to know that, who are into formal and informal immigration overseas, particularly in the United Kingdom, in Canada, and quite a number of those other countries in Eastern Europe, you know, so many of them. So you will therefore see that we can never have a homogeneous strategy for all these categories of veterinarians to survive in our ailing economy, because the challenges are not the same. I will describe the challenges now, or let me start with the positives first. I mean, what are those things that are very good looking in the various sectors? In the public sector today, we have job security. They still take the lead because, like I said, they were the foundational stock. So once you key yourself into the federal civil service or public service, or even in the subnational, at the state level, you have job security. I wouldn't know if there is job satisfaction, but because of the constancy of salary they earn, maybe there's job satisfaction. And then they have a career progression. Chances are there for you once you are in the public sector, for instance, at the federal level, that you might rise through the ranks as a senior veterinary officer, the principal veterinary officer, the chief veterinary officer. You might rise to actually become the chief veterinary officer of Nigeria, who is the coordinating CVO among the other CVOs. So they have a career progression. So that's not a bad thing at all. And then they have retirement benefits through the gratuities and the monthly pensions that they enjoy. That is very satisfying in a way. And then, of course, they have opportunities around them to manage foreign direct investments. A lot of the non-governmental organizations come through those ministries, through the Federal Ministry of Agri and Rural Development, FMAD, a lot of the multilateral institutions, FAO, the USAID, the UKAID, all of these foreign aid donors who want to have one thing or the other to do on in livestock, especially the animal health component of it, they go to the ministries. So you have the ministry, public sector veterinarians, well positioned to benefit directly from these opportunities, and also to extend patronage to those they like to do that. And then they also give contracts. So it's a very well suited sector, you know, to belong to. And then they have the government protection, such that whatever they do, even if there are errors, they have the backing and protection of government. You will find that in the private sector. So looking at the private sector, the positives also include an objective job appraisal. You're on your own. You can't fool yourself. In the private sector, you must not daydream. You must be very realistic with what you choose to do. You must be very deliberate in the risk you want to take. And that is quite unlike in the public sector, where if there are errors, somebody else will bear it, government will bear it. But in the private sector, if you make errors, the society will not forgive you, because you won't even forgive yourself anyway. And then, is there job satisfaction? Yes, there could be. Yeah. The fact that you are a boss over yourself and you are able to determine what you want and take decisions, the freedom of decision making, is a sound enough reason for you to be satisfied with the job you do. And then you are more productive driven, because Garbage in, garbage out, the sale of computers, that's exactly what it is, the private sector. It is what you put in that you harvest. Then you also have the opportunity to self-develop yourself. You are not limited in the narrow scope, in the narrow scheme to what the public sector may do to you, because the public sector may completely take you away from the training you got as a professional. But in the private sector, you have that capacity to self-develop yourself. You can decide to have a multiple practice where you have your hands in several things and then ply your trade. The multitasking for benefits. You can do so many things. You don't have to hide to do them. Like the private sector, who somebody as a boss, if you're looking after, you'll be looking for you for having abandoned your posting. In the private sector, you know, you have that benefit of being able to try your hands in multiple pies. And that could transform into riches, which can make a very, I don't want to use the word poor veterinarian, because the veterinarian is poor, to become very rich overnight. That is it. So I don't have the analysis for the Japan veterinarians. They will come and tell us when they start coming back, because some of them will have to come back and tell us what their eyes have seen in their migration they're back on. Now let's look at the public sector challenges, because it's not all that goes rosy that don't have the other sides to it. In the public sector, from the experiences I know relating with our colleagues, I know there is a very terrible rat race, unhealthy competition among themselves, particularly those who are supposed to be of similar seniority level. Too much of competition that is not healthy. Then there are disloyal subordinates who they continue to in their eye service, they can line out banana peels for their seniors to run into and have confusion and have problems. We have the pulling down syndrome in the public service. People like to put others into trouble and deliberately want to frustrate the progression of mates. They suffer lopsided promotions. So people, because of some factors that are not altruistic, get promoted far much above those who should have been their seniors. We know that exists a lot of politicking there, cutthroat politicking, fratricidal, diabolism. People do a lot of diabolic things in the public sector just to get promoted, just to have what they call juicy postings, you know, diabolic manners that are very strange to the private sector. They exist in the public sector a lot. There are challenges. And then we have a lot of religious and ethnic discrimination. We can't run away from that truth. This is Nigeria. And sometimes all of these lead to deliberate wicked postings that can fracture families and cause trouble to homes. So this is how because we need to know these challenges before we can really look at the strategies that we all need to be able to survive in a failing economy like Nigeria. Whether you're in the public sector, whether you're in the private sector, all of these we all need to benefit the experiences we are sharing today. Then in the private sector, what are the challenges that we see here? We have underemployment in many places. A lot of idle hands because of the sophistication of the profession in this country. We have a lot of time, idle time. People, veterinarians who want to work, but the clientele level is low, just sufficient enough for them to also earn a living. So I refer to that as underemployment, even though they are there, but the employment is not fully complemented. Then we have job insecurity in some cases, where you have veterinarians who choose to start very small, and then with the intention that they could get a public sector job, and then they will become insecure in the job they do, and they will not grow because they will not develop, they will not put in investments into the practice they have because they'll be thinking of exiting. So there is job insecurity in some cases, there is job hazards, a lot of hazards. I'm writing a book now on the hazards in veterinary practice on the field, because twice I've been lucky to survive kidnappers who will pretend that they are clients, and they will come to us and they will want to lure you by inviting you into a phony job that does not exist anywhere. So job hazards, in fact, it's even worse off today because of the insecurity situation in Nigeria today. The public sector veterinarians don't have this kind of experiences. The only hazard they may have could be maybe some people may want to play for 1 hour around them, believing they have a lot of money to spare. Then in the private sector, we also have a very clumsy job description. Sometimes you see veterinarians having to do it all. They want to do the jobs of the veterinary paraprofessionals. We are even beginning to have a third leg now, the community animal health workers. You know, so you see veterinarians not having a very clear description of the kind of work they should do, which is what the public sector veterinarians will never accept. But we still have that clumsiness in the description of jobs for veterinarians in the private sector. We have a low returns on quite a number of investments. This will look very difficult to understand, but for some of us who still keep investing even tomorrow in the practices we run, we know that it's just for sometimes it's for us to be happy having to have equipment that are good enough for us to work with. But the returns on them are not as smart and fast. Like you could put such monies in other businesses, the returns could be much higher and turnover could be faster. I have an ultrasound scanning machine, which I bought about 10 years ago for about 1,500, 1,500,000 naira, 500,000 naira. I'm not sure I've recovered all the money I spent in buying that ultrasound scanning machine, even though I use it frequently. So we have no returns on investment. It doesn't matter anyway. And like I said, the joy is there that you have those machines to work with. There could be low income if you are not very versatile in fee setting and pricing of your products and services. And a lot of veterinarians suffer this because they don't have a business background that will enable them to properly rate and cost their inputs. They're satisfied with deworming and vaccination. And how many deworming and vaccination will you put together to make a reasonable income for you to build a house? Our training does not reside in remaining with just deworming and vaccinating dogs. And that's what a lot of veterinarians do, even when they get employed. So no income. Then we also have in the private sector limited exit strategies. Because what I mean by that is that it is like you are hooked onto it, because even when there are decisions that you could boldly take, if you were to be a different professional and pull out and look elsewhere, we are not able to do that in private sector. So we see private veterinarians struggling on and then continuing even when things look tough enough. Again, unlike the public sector, there is no structured retirement benefits. But if you are smart enough, in private sector, you can begin to build your retirement benefits over time, such that by the time you are supposed to be retiring, you might not necessarily have the monthly pensions or the gratuities, but you will have enough in investment to be able to keep your life going very well. I will discuss that shortly. Then there is this burnout fatigue, having to do the same thing over and over and over and over again in the private sector. That is why in the index of those who commit suicide in the United States, professionals who have been identified to be committing suicide, the veterinarians who were, that's at last year, were number 4 on the ladder. That's not a very good thing. But it shows what fatigue can be. Frustration can come out of fatigue, having to do same thing over and over and over again. No transfers, no. The beauties of the public sector at times is that even if it is a punishment, you can get transferred away from where you were used to doing your usual posting. And then you have a new environment with circumstances that will change that could just be a blessing to you in disguise. And then lastly here, like I have identified, there is no career growth progression in the private sector. Because as soon as you are starting your practice or your business, you already become a chief executive officer. So what else are you going to aspire to become? It's like somebody who, I mean, those of us who have gotten married, we already got a certificate of very qualified to marry on the day of our wedding, that we just go on and then go ahead, but be giving a certification. So the same thing with the private sector. You are already a CEO, a one-day-old veterinarian in private practice is a chief executive officer. So if you are not careful, you may end up not having progression in your career. Now, those of them, the JAPA sector, the challenges are going to be much wider than I'm going to enumerate now, because like I said, it's the US sector, and we are here to find out how many of them will stay back there, or how many of them will return home and tell us if they are taking the right decision to have left in the first place. But I know that, of course, this is a brain drain. It is a syndrome that is not peculiar to the veterinarians or the veterinary profession alone. I'm not even going to discourage it at all. In the past, I could sit a veterinarian down. I had a job in 1986 actually, to be a lecturer at the University of Tuskegee in Alabama, which I rejected. Professor Dipeolu, who was the dean of UI, may so rest in peace, got a job to be the manager for the Department of Tropical Veterinary Medicine, and I had just served with him as the president of AVMS in UI. So he wrote to me and got a job for me as a lecturer in the university. And I turned it down for private practice. But I'm not going to discourage anyone today. Please quote me. Whoever wants to join the brain drain should go and try. But please do not get yourself enslaved enough not to want to come back if the dreams are not exactly translating to what you wanted. Because many of them will get into the UK and they will never qualify as member of the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons, which would be the minimum that will qualify them to practice as veterinarians. They may never be, because I have seen some of the contracts that our guys who have JAPAD that they signed. They have been asked to work for so many hours in a week that they will definitely not have any opportunity, even online, to take on a veterinary program that will qualify them to become veterinarians in UK. It's very painful because they are going to be there working as a non-veterinarian because they won't even introduce themselves as doctors, because that will be quackery because they are not qualified to work in those lands. They could have some money when they convert to Naira, but they will definitely not have the kind of job satisfaction that they had back home here. And they also will have a lot of job hazards, difficulties, new challenges, having to be treated with disrespect. I can tell you that exists because even when we go visiting, We know how the veterinarians who are not trained to obtain to have their MRCVS are looked down upon. But this is you now who go there, you'll not even be able to tell that I'm a veterinarian. So there will be a lot of different hazards that will be associated with the assignments they are being given. Many of them who have not been in meat inspection businesses in Nigeria, who have had their trades in different businesses, are now going through new training in meat inspection. Narrow-minded, with clumsy job description, because all the letters and the agreements they have signed included that they could be asked to do anything else in the whims and caprices of the owner of the businesses that has engaged them. That clause is there. So it's a world of the unknown. A lot will get to be known later. So they are plunging into a world of the unknown, where they will be overtasked, they will be tired. Even the medical doctors who have been brain draining are beginning to complain that because they say they are good, they are being made to work without rest. The kind of work schedules that the natives and indigenes of those places are never subjected to, they are being made to do those work for the same salaries that other people are getting. Overtasking. And then there is this limited exit strategies because they're already there. What would they come back to tell people at home? That becomes a psychological issue. Some of them have had to take their families along. What would they tell their wives, their children? That would be a reason for them to pull back home. So the high risk is too much. Job uncertainties. They are not able to challenge the system and carry placard. And of course, there is also no career growth progression. That is obvious. So that is the challenge that we have. Those are the various benefits that exist in the various sectors, the public sector, the private sector, and then the Japa syndrome that is blossoming now because of the Nigeria's ailing economy, which I really like to say Nigeria's failing economy, because it's actually a failed economy. I don't want to go into tapping from the business management experience I have to begin to analyze how bad the economy of this country is today. We all live here. There is nothing that can be an indicator of the bad economy that we live in that I know that you all don't know. Even the National Bureau of Statistics, in its latest release, said that the economy of Nigeria is in dire straits, with a horrible 63% multi-dimensional poverty index involving 133 million poor people. If I don't know whether this coinage belongs to Nigeria alone, because I've never heard about a multi-dimensional poverty index before, but that's what is reigning now, that we have 133 million poor people that are in the bracket of multi-dimensional poverty in this country of less than 200 million people. So what are we talking about? And we have leadership, and we are even in a campaign season that is not even encouraging in any way with those who are supposed to be burying their heads in shame for having plunged us into the situation we find ourselves, still looking hopeful in the ways and manners they are going about their campaign, telling us what they have not done that they now want to do. Anyway, I'm not here to discuss politics tonight. Now, let me discuss the coping strategies, which is the area of interest for our discussion tonight. And like I said, I am a practitioner of what I preach. Everything I will say here are the practical experiences that I have. And if you join me in modifying them to suit your circumstances, they will work for you. The coping strategies is a combination of ideas, but principally around a mindset and attitude change And that time to have this mindset and attitude change is never too late. It could be any time. It could be at 70 years of age. If we keep the same old mindset and the same attitude, we will remain challenged by the poverty situation of the economy we find ourselves. So we can change the mindset. For those of the young veterinarians who are on call, who are able to know this today, they are more blessed, because the earlier we have the mindset and attitude change towards a positive goals, the better for us. We must shake off the superiority mentality that doctors carry about. What do I mean by that? We have suffered a lot in school, in veterinary school. 6 years, 7 years, some of us have even done 8 years before we qualified as veterinarian. 8 to 5, a very tough curriculum that has not even given us room to express ourselves. We must read to pass exams. And then we look down on quite a number of others in different, what's it called now? Professions, as not satisfied, I mean, not up to our standard. And then we come out, we have the doctor right in front of our name, and then we begin to feel that we are up there. Up there in what? It's a superiority mentality that does not pay us. That superiority mentality will not put money in our pockets. Will not. It will not. A lot of people who we used to disrespect are getting richer than us in an economy like this. And I'll explain very, very soon what I mean. The third point here is that we must never allow ourselves to be consigned into a professional silo. Don't allow yourself to be identified alone that is only veterinary subject matter that you are an expert in. That is a professional silo, a box. Our parents who did not even go to universities were able to use their relationship with friends and politicians to get contracts, to build houses. They hired the experts to do the job. Why can you and me as veterinarians not also do that? The first house I built from the sweat that was not related to veterinary medicine, I must confess to you. So we must not consign ourselves into being, whenever they are discussing us, Dr. Lagbaja, no, he's a vet, leave him alone, let him stay with his animals. No, once you do that, you are finished, because you are boxed into a corner. When the resources of Nigeria will be shared and be discussed, they will call you again. They will tell you that they will remember you only that it's only when they discuss animals that you should call him. They name your price for you. So you must expand your relationship network across the board. All those are friends, your friends that we used to call on serious yesterday, they are the rulers of today. They are the political leaders of today. Because they know how to bend down, stoop low to conquer. They know how to go and be the apprentices before the politicians. And then they get compensated. And then they add out to take our money. But they were the dregs and the unserious characters who are in humanities, who are in theater arts, who are in social sciences yesterday, that we used to laugh at. We don't even want to be their friends. But they are the one that are dictating the destinies for all of us today. They won't even hire us to advise them today, unless we descend from that high horse and jump out of the professional silo that has given us that superior mentality that you are a doctor, a doctor. So we must jump out of all of this, and we must develop our skill set within, even if we choose to remain within the veterinary value chain, we must develop our skill sets That is the set of things that we are able to do that can narrow us to an area that will give us recognition. We must, sonology, that is, study of sounds that is used in many disciplines like in medicine, the ultrasound scanning machine. Some of us don't even know how to read our printouts. So you must find a way to get to know how to do some things that other colleagues don't know how to do. And then you now market yourself to be available to them and tell them that you can come and read their reports for them. If you say their reports to you, you can see a wildlife. You can see what one of our junior colleagues in Lagos is doing, Mark, in wildlife. You must have a niche. You must have a niche that you can control in this economy that we find ourselves today to be able to survive. That's the skill set that we must develop. And if you choose to diversify outside the profession, why not? You can also go for a skill set outside the profession. ICT is so broad that you don't have to be a graduate of computer alone to have certificates in ICT, very many areas. ICANN or ANAN, I have looked through their curriculum and I've also seen their admission criteria. You don't have to be a graduate in home economics or a graduate in social studies to become an ICANN. In actual fact, what's his name? The Chief Executive Officer of First Bank today, a veterinarian, Dr. Adedun Shola, was a junior in UI, very brilliant chap. He had his ICANN, the junior ICANN, while he was a veterinary student. And immediately he finished the DVM, he just went for the final ICANN exam and got it and had remained in the financial industry ever since. Today is the CEO of First Bank for more than 10 years. So you can develop your skill outside the profession. A lot of people are doing that and are doing well there, not only in Nigeria, elsewhere. Then if you choose to remain in business, please do not overstaff your business. A lot of us do that. I used to do that. There was a time I had 15 workers around me in a small practice that I have narrowed down so much now that whoever is sitting down in my clinic, in my practice now, must work. Overstaffing. And therefore, we are not conserving revenue. We are losing money because those salaries we pay, they are not going to be profit for us. Their income, the deficits, because we have to lose them at the end of the month in pay salaries that we can conserve. Then we must, very importantly, look at ourselves and compete with ourselves. That is, compete with yourself. Look at your dream. Have the best imagination of what you want. You want to train your children abroad. You want money to do so. You want to train yourself beyond the DVN. You want money to do so. You want to ride the best of cars. Why can't you ride the best of cars? You want to have the best of houses. Why shouldn't you have? Make those ones a set goal for which you must compete. Not to compete with your colleagues. The best you can do with your colleagues, with ourselves, is to collaborate. Then we can benefit from ourselves when we collaborate. But when we compete with ourselves, we all become like public sector veterinarians who become rat race runners, and then, of course, a lot of diabolic things will come into it. No. We should be able to collaborate so that if there are challenges I have, I can share with a colleague close by and find a way to solving them like they possibly could have gone through those challenges before. So we must not compete with ourselves in the sense of competition amongst veterinarians, no, but we should collaborate with ourselves. We must be consistent with what we are doing, we must be dedicated, and we must never be a rolling stone. There is a proverb that a rolling stone gathers no moss. You know, a rolling stone down a cliff, as it rolls on the mud, it throws off what came on top, it throws it off as it rolls down. See, that is what consistency and dedication will not allow. When we are consistent, we will have people who would have known us with the job we do that might not even come back to look for us in a year, in 2 years. But there will be a time they will just remember, maybe there is now a need to require our service. They could even be out of town. Then they will make a recommendation that go to so-so-so street, go to so-so-so location. There is so-so-so person there. So what will it look like if that person who has been recommended to look for you now come around and then discover that you have disappeared, you have disappeared abroad, you have decided to go and look for another shop in a different city, and then, or you're not even doing veterinary medicine again. So we have to be consistent. Whereas that new person introduced would have been a new money-making, money-spinning opportunity just wasted. So we must be consistent. And there is a lot benefited in being consistent. I had a friend who was a chef, SPDC, Chef Petroleum Development Company in Warri here, when he was in production technology department, petroleum development, whatever they called it then, my very good friend. And then he was appointed as the managing director of the, what they call it, this content, whatever they call it in Port Harcourt. And he remembered that I was still here in Bendel Estate in Warri and sent for me. Anyway, let me not bore you with how much that blessing was for me. So it's good for us to be consistent. Then we must go back to any school. We must not remain with the knowledge of veterinary medicine that we came out of school with. It's just a stepping stone. There is a lot for us to learn in management and business courses out there, either as online courses or physical attendance in schools. Please let us go back to school and learn about management. You'll be surprised how packaging is being taught as a course in management, how personnel management is being given a prime of place as a course in business schools. So we should go and learn all of this. We should establish new networks of acquaintances. Even by going to school, we'll make new friends that will become new acquaintances. I have a friend, Dr. Femi Kayode, is on call. He just went to Kuru, like National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, for a 1-month course. And I asked him, what did you gain? And he said he gained friendship with new people who are up there. He spent a lot of money for that course for 30 days, but he has made new friends, new acquaintances. Those new acquaintances, with your exposure now, will be managed better to harvest income than in the past. We should join service clubs, the Lions clubs, the Rotary Club. I was the president of Lions Club. I was the zone chairman. Make presentations in all of these places. And then they will rate you. They will see you jumping out of the box of syringes and needles by the way you talk, by the way you talk to them, by the way you relate to people. Then go for mentoring from others in similar areas of interest. I won't talk much on that because that's a subject of its own. Mentoring. There is nobody who knows it all. Even as mentors, I still look up to mentors to guide me in taking certain decisions. A lot we stand to gain by standing on the shoulders of mentors to see far. Please be in politics if you have the opportunity and attend political meetings. You will be shocked, like I was shocked. In the few times I attended some political gatherings and I saw the quality of discussion of people who are shaping and directing the affairs of our lives today. In drunken states, please try and join this. If you have the opportunities, please attend those the political gatherings and seek offices if you have the opportunities to do that. Please. Then our time management, again, I'm not going to dwell too much on that because that is a very wide subject matter. If I have to choose that alone, that's enough for a 1-hour discussion. Time management, be wise on social media. A lot of us waste a lot of precious time on the social media of today. You have to be disciplined to know when to jump out of the social media. Then you must scale up your practice. or business deliberately. If you are using a 1-room, 2-room apartment, you must target that next year, I must have a 3-bedroom flat. I must have a 3-row office. I must have my own building. You must have that projection and you must work towards it. A lot of us have some money we think we don't have, that those who spend those money in advancing themselves or their businesses don't even have the type of money we have, and we still remain where we are. 2 years ago, we were the same room, a single room. 3 years, we are still there. Even the psychology of having to remain so poverty, so poor, is enough to make you to hate yourself. So we must scale up our practice and business deliberately. Add more to what you have. Then we must connect to a community of practice in your neighborhood. I just said that in passing before. That is, by not competing with ourselves, we have a community of practice. What I cannot do, somebody else in the neighborhood should be able to do it. If I have a case that requires that I must make referral to them, I should make the referral. If they have some cases too, they should make referrals to me. A community of practice. Then you see us circulating blessings and wealth amongst ourselves. Then you must have the right billing and know how to set your fees for your products and services. A lot of us do a lot of free work, free jobs, because we don't know how to bill. The guy you charge 10,000 naira will beg you to allow him to pay 7,000 naira for the same bill that could have been a 30,000, and the same man will be begging you to allow him to pay 25,000. Right billing, fee setting. There's an art in knowing this, actually. I've taken it as a course before to a group of mentees. We need to know how to bill rightly and cost our inputs to be able to know how exactly our pricing should look like. Then we must build good relationships with clients. Emphasis, good relationships. Not unholy alliances. We must not turn our clients to our family friends. If you do that, they will not pay your bills at some point. If you do that, you render service and they will bring wine bottles for you. They must remain your clients. Your clients should remain your clients. That is business. Those are part of the ethics. It's unethical, actually, for you to be a friend to your clients. Relationship, yes. Good relationship, yes. You must invest in equipment and technology for your business. This is the modern day of technology. We must benefit it. You must enjoy it. There are so many equipment today that will require the use of two human beings to be reduced to one, if possibly half self. So invest in those things and reduce the disloyalty around what human attitude could be. You should own a good house, even if you are renting it. Rent a good house, enjoy your life. Buy a fine car, buy fine vehicles, functional vehicles. It's not affluence display. No, they all add up to your psychology. And it is when you are healthy upstairs that you can even chase after the money anyway. Enjoy your life. Pay your taxes to government and operate your business confidently. If you are deficient or negligent, you pay your tax. If a tax man comes to your premises, you will be shaking and be begging him. But if you on your own have been paying your taxes, and anyone comes in, your mind will not waver to be thinking maybe they will be coming to demand for tax from you. Then you can be confident because you won't even know who will be the kind of clientele who could be around you when the tax man will knock your door. That could make you lose respect, lose income, and lose your confidence. So pay your taxes. Then the public sector veterinarians, they should liberalize their patronage to the private sector and desist from being greedy. A lot of public sector veterinarians are greedy. They earn fat salaries through commerce. We should be proud that they're doing that. They also still go to compete for that which should belong to the private sector. I have too many experiences to share here, and it's depressing, very annoying. Because I have seen that the engineers don't do that. The engineers in the ministry, even where they have the competence and the numbers to do the jobs, they will contract it out to their colleagues in the private practice, in the private sector. And of course, there will always be a thank you. There will always be a formula to say, to pay back, to share. But our people will grab the salaries and still be grabbing that which are supposed to be contracts that should go to the private sector. And that is why you see, like in Bayelsa said, I think there are just only 2 veterinarians there. And the 2 veterinarians there are happy. They don't know how to fight with the government to say that they are not doing anything, that veterinary service provision is collapsing or has collapsed because of greed. So we need to liberalize. Public sector must have that change of attitude. They need that mindset change. We need those new set of young public sector veterinarians who will champion this lead in this direction. They must engage the private sector vets and seed jobs to them. Then we cannot be happy. And then for the private sector veterinarians, we must prepare for a retirement practice. I'm already doing mine. I retired since about 2 years ago. Even though my workers, they will know because they do all the work now. I only force myself on them to do some of the jobs. I'm able to travel without looking back because they are there. So we must have a retirement practice so that we joyfully have to now practice from there. Do not be a case of all our energies at 60 years are still being pushed back into the practice as if you are 30 years old veterinarian. No, we can't do that. We must have a savings plan, a value investment we must do in land and properties to enable us to also have that retirement plan. Take a look around you. You see colleagues nearby doing well. Let these colleagues inspire you to fly even higher. The sky is wide for birds to fly. The grass is not as green elsewhere with other professions. I've seen a lot of medical doctors complain, swearing that their children will never be medical doctors. I've seen lawyers do the same thing. So where is good? So you are exactly what you want to be. So brace up and take the gauntlet and be part of the success stories. Don't read about the success stories of other veterinarians. Be part of the success stories. You can do it. In conclusion, let me repeat again that I have no master key approach in all I've shared. What I've shared are my practical tips, which you could adapt where it concerns you. You could modify them. You could, in fact, jump above them. And then you will discover that they are not something too difficult to use. Attitude will determine our attitude. That's a very popular saying. Our attitude is what will tell where we'll get to. And you are what you want to be. Every professional is what he deserves, what he wants to be. If you are poor as a veterinarian, it's because you want to be poor. Get educated. Be streetwise. Be streetwise. There are so many things out there. Our education does not mean we should be limited. Instead, it should broaden us to be able to have more wisdom and apply them. We should descend from our high horses and be ready to do quite a lot of things without being boxed up as a professional who is into dog business alone. Seek a mentor, climb on his shoulder, and see far and move far. Make yourself happy. Have a good office. I enjoy my office any day. Every day, my office. I mean, I spend hours without feeling bored. I reluctantly will have to go out to do anything. If I can send anybody to go and do it, make yourself happy. Make your office good. Most of our lives are spent around our working premises. Live well. Pray. There's also a place for prayers, and be deliberate in achieving success. Thank you very much. That is the end of my story. Is the chairperson still with us?
Wow, thank you. Yes, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you. The lecture has been so educative. It's been in fact it's filled. And I never knew you are such a poet. You have a lot of quotes. In fact, I have a bunch of them written down, and it was, if I can't even start highlighting. Thank you so much. So for the fact, and our time is well fast spent, and it's worth it. In fact, if we sit down for the next 2 hours, I'm sure everyone will still be all ears. So as a result of that, in order to quickly wrap up, we'll just take a few questions. So let's see, if you have a question, quickly, let's take about one. Anyone has a question, kindly raise up your hand. Okay, in the absence of, I want to assume we all have so much going on in our mind, and we've easily digested it. So, okay, okay, in absence of any question, okay, I think I can see Dr. Madaki. Yes, you can unmute yourself, your mic. Dr. Madaki, your hand is up. Okay. Okay. Okay, in the absence of question, can we have comments? Can we have comments? Especially, I can see a lot of our guys. In fact, a lot of my mentors are here tonight. A bunch of them. I'm so delighted to be here. So we can have one or two comments briefly, let's quickly, so that.
Yeah, my own comment is first to thank the presenter for job well done, as well as the coordinators that are bringing people closer despite our tight schedule, but it serves as an opportunity for us to discuss and to mentor other people. That's very kind for the profession. My prayers is that I wish that we that joined lately will have a copy of the presentation via our various emails as a reference document, and then for us to peruse and understand more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So let's just take one more. Any other contribution? Dr. Ikechukwu Ibukwe.
Mine is just to thank Dr. Nahoro.
Professor.
To thank Nahoro for a very good presentation. I was just fortunate to be able to get to the social media and see that this lecture was going to take place. And I said I wasn't going to miss it. So I'm happy I didn't miss it. But I just want to thank him for being able to put together all these things. It's a compendium of fantastic information that a lot of young people can benefit from, and I hope that the recorded version of it can be widely distributed. So there are a lot of young veterinarians who don't have a focus, they don't feel motivated to see any direction they are going on to. But when they hear this kind of lecture, it's going to put in some energy into some of their thoughts. And I believe that Nahoro has done a lot of work on this presentation. So please help us to circulate it. And finally, I look forward to presentations like this. They are the real continuing education. Thank you, Dr. Nahoro. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much, sir. So as we are wrapping up, we would like to take the vote of thanks by Dr. Abayomi Ayoye. Can you please give us the vote of thanks, please?
Dr. Salmon, I guess there's a question in the chat box. Can you quickly entertain it before we have the vote of thanks, ma'am? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, let me quickly go through that. Okay, the question goes thus, sir. I wish to ask, that's by Dr. Akoho Santa Samuel. I wish to ask, is it a good idea to approach someone to be your mentor?
I didn't get
that. Sir. the person wants to know whether it's a good idea to approach someone to be your mentor.
Yes, that is even the best mentorship that you can have. Every mentor will feel honored to be approached to help. That's the right way to go. You can't expect the mentors to hunt for you. You should look, I look for my mentors and I tell them, and I ask them to mentor me. And they feel honored that I have come to them. And that's what it's supposed to be. So the answer is yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I believe the question has been answered. Let me check again. In absence of, I think that's the only question here. So the recordings will be, and the materials will be circulated and made available by the ESCOs, the organizers. So Dr. Abayomi Adiwe, can we please have the vote of thanks?
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's all I can say tonight for this wonderful session. I must say that it's been a mind-blowing one. I must tell you, having Oga in our midst, and doling out these words of wisdom. It's such a very, very perfect time because I know we are ending a year very soon and we'll be going to another year. And all I can say to everyone on the call tonight is that it is time to get out of the box. It is time to break that box and get out of it and maximize your potential as much as you can. If there's anything I know that Oga does best, it is to mentor we younger colleagues. He is all out and several other senior colleagues on this call, which I'm going to mention their name, to help us to chart a way for our life as veterinarians. And Oga, I want to say very big thank you to you on behalf of the presidents and members of COVID FUNAB Alumni Association. I want to say very big thank you to you for this time. I'm careful not to dollarize our discussion today, because if we have to pay you for these life lessons, then we might be looking at tens of thousands of dollars to pay you. But we know we cannot pay you. We can only say thank you very much because this is life impacting. And we know posterity will surely pay you back. Thank you so much. And let me just quickly say that on this call, we have some wonderful senior colleagues, fathers in the professions, friends in the professions, mothers in the professions in our midst. And I want to quickly mention that we have Dr. Tuji Nasri on the call. He is the VCM Premises Committee Chair. We also have my wonderful guy from Blue Blood Veterinary Services and Livestock Management Services, Dr. Bala Mohammed. We also have Dr. Adebayo Shubuloye of Arojo Veterinary Services in Abeokuta. My wonderful Oga, anytime I get to him, the first thing to do is to prostrate, to say, Oga, good afternoon or good morning. Dr. Kunle Abiade, the CEO of Pet Care Animal Hospital in Okwebi, Ikeja. And we also have in our midst, Dr. Bola Apanishile, the head of wildlife units, Ogun State Veterinary Service. We also have Dr. Dotun Fadipe, the current secretary of NVMA Nigeria. We also have in our midst my wonderful friend and brother, Dr. Femi Kayode, the movers and shakers of the veterinary business world. He's the CEO of Farm Alert and a member of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. And let me also say we have a friend in our midst and a brother, Dr. Shokweju, yes, of FMEDS. I'm so happy to see these people of timber and caliber on this call tonight. And looking at the number of attendants, we've had well over almost 86 people on the call tonight. It's quite impressive. And I want to say a big thank you to everyone. To the organizers, the executive committee of COVID FUNAB Alumni Association, I want to say a big thank you to you. And I want to wish us the very best as we approach the new year and as we set new targets and goals for our lives. May God continually help us. Thank you very much. And to our moderator, thank you, madam. Thank you so much, Dr. Salmon. We appreciate
You're welcome,
you.
sir.
Yes.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, so to wrap up, we can have the closing prayer, I believe. Let's take the second stanza of the national anthem again. Our closing prayer, while we'll go our separate. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Oh God of creation, direct